Hello, welcome to the clinic. So first up, I'm going to ask you a series of questions about your eyes, and then for part 2 I'm going to introduce some props from the clinic and ask you some questions regarding those. So I'm going to be recording all the results on the pad here with the pen. So first up, when was your last eye examination? Do you wear spectacles? Do you wear contact lenses, or have you ever worn contact lenses in the past? Now currently, are you experiencing any visual difficulties, whether that's problems with the distance, intermediate or near vision? Righty-ho. Have you ever experienced involuntary double vision? Have you ever had to visit the eye hospital for any issues at all? Right, so you're under the eye hospital for glaucoma. Okay, do you know what type of glaucoma you've been diagnosed with? Primary open-angle glaucoma, excellent. Now, I assume you're taking eye drops to control the pressures. Do you know the name of the eye drops that you're taking at the moment? Okay, do you take them in both eyes? Do you have to take them at night time? Do you ever forget to take your drops? Very good. Do you know what your last intraocular pressure readings were? Well remembered, so right 13, left 14, thank you. Don't worry if you don't understand the numbers, that's all we need to know there. Have you ever had any eye procedures or surgeries to the eyes? Now, when did you last see your ophthalmologist? When was your last visual fields test performed? That's the test where you have to click the button when you see a light at the sides. Approximately. Okay. Did the ophthalmologist put you on a 1-year recall or a sooner one, do you know? 6 months. Right. Moving on. Do you ever see floaters in your vision? They tend to drift around or shift when the eyes shift direction. Some people describe them as dots, strings, worms or cobwebs. Right, approximately, how long would you say you've noticed the eye floaters for? It's quite a while then. Do you feel the eye floaters are getting worse in any ways? Whether that's, are they getting bigger? Are you seeing them more frequently? Or have you noticed an increase in the quantity of the floaters? Okay. Do you ever notice flashing lights in a particular part of your vision? Any zigzags or kaleidoscope type visual disturbances? Okay. Do you suffer from migraines? Diabetes? Hypertension? Other than your eye drops, any other medication that you take? Are there any eye problems in your family? Or general health problems in the family as well? Excellent. Let's introduce the props for phase 2, and there'll be some questions. Have you ever been advised to use a near reading device with illumination. So illumination and magnification. Have you ever been prescribed one of these by an eye care professional before? These are the sounds that it makes. Thank you. Just record that there. So that is the handheld magnifier. Now when the optometrist occludes your eyes like this, or performs the cover test, does their occluder look anything like this one, do you know? Or does it differ from this type? Have a good look, please. Okay, it's different to that one, that's absolutely fine. Occluder. When positioned on the slit lamp, where you pop your chin on and they look with the light, does the optometrist or ophthalmologist ever use the Wratten filter to enhance the image? Do you know? Usually makes crinkling sounds when it's slipped into place. Okay, so you feel the Wratten filter has been used, that's fine. Now, does your optometric practice stock contact lens storage cases, where sometimes they're labelled like so, or colour coded? These are the sounds. The pot for solution. And the accompanying one. Does your practice stock those? Excellent. When you've had your vision checked, have you ever had to wear the spectacles with the inbuilt pinholes there, like so? Have you ever had to wear anything like this in the clinic before? Okay, so that's a definite no. However, I assume that you may have had one of these devices used with the sliding pinhole device there. You can check the vision unilaterally by blocking out the other eye there. It's a handheld device. Has your optometrist ever used one of these to check your pinhole vision? That's absolutely fine. Let me take some notes then. So not the spectacles, but the handheld device. Thank you. And moving on. Has your optometrist ever had to measure you with one of these rulers? Now these rulers come with the cursor and a metal pointer for taking specific measurements. as well as having the scale here and the scale there. We're checking things like pupillary distance, temple and head width, and the angular scale there. Do you recall ever having this device used on you in the clinic in any way, shape or form? Maybe jog your memory if I show you how it works. Okay, doesn't matter if you've never had any of these devices used, it's just to understand the situation a little bit better. So that was the Smurbax measuring ruler, the multitude of functions. What do we have next? I assume you usually have the Goldman eye pressure test where it touches the eyes after having the drops in, but as your eye care professional, ever used the eye care tonometer, which is the handheld device with the adjustable headrest there, the slot there for the probe that gently flicks the anterior surface of the cornea, and if you aren't sure, the eye care usually bleeps at you. Have you ever had this test performed? Usually you hardly feel anything and no drops are required. Have you had that before? Okay, so eye care, tonometry, possibly performed before your glaucoma diagnosis. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so you usually have the electronic visual field test performed, but as any eye care professional ever had to use the red dot on a stick test for checking your visual fields by asking you to look straight and telling you when the object appears in your peripheral vision. I'll just act it out a little bit for you to see if it jogs your memory. Usually you have to say when you see the target. Or has one of these ever been used to help maintain your fixation or to check your ocular movements? Has this ever been used on you in the clinic? Definitely, I know, that's fine. So that's the confrontation stick, a red dot. Okay, doing very well. Let's move on to the next trigger. Have you ever had the stereopsis test where you have to wear the red-green glasses, and it's the test where you usually see butterflies, shapes, or the little Pac-Man? Have you ever had to wear these in the clinic for the TNO stereopsis test? Okay, so not many people have worn those in the clinic, that's absolutely fine. But many people have worn the red-green visors checking the eye muscles, but not the spectacle version. Okay, this may be a tricky one, but when your optometrist has used the ophthalmoscope, and there are many different types of ophthalmoscope, has your eye care professional ever had to use, or do they use, the Keeler standard model there with the blue base and a focusing wheel that makes these sounds? Does this sound familiar? Does this particular model look familiar? Okay, not to worry. There are lots of different ophthalmoscopes, so if you're not sure what they use, that's fine. So I'll put a question mark next to that one. Okay. When having your vision checked in the clinic, have you ever encountered Mr. Quack? That's what he looks like. And what about the elusive Mrs. Quack? Now, she's not for everybody's eyes. Have you ever encountered her in the clinic? Okay, that's fine. That's the Cardiff card. Not encountered. Okay, next prop. When you have the test where the optometrist shines the light in your eye from about a metre away, do they ever use on you the lens racks like this? So they'll be shining the light and going through the various lens powers there to neutralise the light. Has your optometrist ever used one of these? Now, usually the optometrist will be using the black one, which denotes plus power. Does having the black one in front of your eye ring any bells for you? Some optometrists will just hold the lens in front or slide it into the trial frame. So that's a definite no. Okay, a few more to go. Your optometrist ever had to use during your eye examination the Prism bar here, numbered like so from low to high, where they'll hold it in front in order to check your eye muscles? Has one of these ever been used on you in the clinic setting before? The Prism bars. Not to worry, some optometrists have the prisms individually, which they slot into the trial frame. Okay, so Prism bars is a no. When you have your eye pressures checked, do you know if your ophthalmologist uses lidocaine hydrochloride with the fluorescein dye incorporated, or do they use a clear drop of anaesthetic such as oxybuprocaine, which comes in a blue box rather than green. Oxybuprocaine and the dye separately. The yellow dye, or the orange dye, as people often describe it as. Now, I assume that when you visit the eye hospital, you're dilated with tropicamide. Is this correct? In the red box. Do they use a second drop to dilate you to help by using phenylephrine hydrochloride? Do you have a double dose of dilation drops? Well remembered there. So, tropicamide and phenylephrine hydrochloride, 1% and 2.5% respectively. Okay, I'm going to send those results through to your optometrist. Have a seat in the waiting area. They'll call you through very shortly.